Okay, everyone, thank you for joining us. It is officially Thrive Thursday. I'm Laura Brandao, the president of AFR, and today we have three guests who are going to share with us how they have adapted to our new world and are now thriving. Let us meet our guests. From Houston, Texas, we have Elle Pierson. She is the principal consultant and CEO of the Reputation Advisors and the founder of the Healthcare Consultant Network. From West Virginia, we have Justin Tidd. He is the Chief Sales Officer at Becker Global America. And from Maryland, we have Angel Pittman. She is a third grade teacher and the owner of Going Overboard. Okay, everyone, let's jump in. Elle, over the last few months, it certainly has brought a lot of change and adaptation. None of us are honestly the same as before that period of time. So let us know, what did you start saying yes to, and how has this helped you thrive during 2020?
Yes. Thank you so much, Laura, for putting this all together and having me on your show. It's such an honor. This has been a very interesting year, but a very necessary year for me personally in my growth, especially in my business. And it's really revealed a lot in regards to parenthood also. So I'm going to touch on that a little bit. But, what's become so evident to me is in chaos, we easily can consume the energy of others, right? So in the midst of everything going on and things changing so quickly, if you are not a person who is spiritually grounded, you can easily be shaken. And so I've always, I've been on this journey of a spiritual awareness for maybe about the past 3 years. And so how I perceive things are a little bit different, right? However, I felt myself in the beginning of this just taking on the feelings of others, just like that panic. And so I had to catch myself because I found myself very quickly in this limited mindset, like, oh my gosh, this is it for the economy. My business is going to suffer. Like I had all those feelings, which were valid feelings. I'm human. But at the end of the day, like that is not my reality today. So,
So what did you do? What did you do? So you had that initial, and I think all of us had that initial out of control feeling, right? So what did you do?
So I really took a step back to move forward. And that step back was me just spending a lot of time with myself and really doing a lot of meditating, self-reflecting, and just manifesting. And to be honest with you, Lord, this has been like the best year ever for me and my daughter, who she's now at virtual school and we've gotten closer. I've grown my business and been able to provide people with jobs. I was on TEDx last weekend speaking. Like all of these amazing things have been happening, but I had to take a step back and just really say, okay, this is not everyone else's reality is not my own reality. Like, how can I make myself better during this time? So I've been like really taking this time to work on self and becoming super centered.
That's where it starts. But that's where it starts, Elle. It all starts with us. Our reality of how we perceive things and what we put out to the world, it's controlled by us, not by what you're watching on the news or what you're hearing other places.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, Laura, because that's something else I stopped myself from doing is watching the news. Oh. I cannot consume all of that because that will soon become my reality if I'm constantly watching negative things and I just have to stop. So that's what's really helped me during this time is just really just taking a step back and focusing on those simple things that we forget, like family, self-care, mindfulness, those types of things really help.
So I have a question for you. Yeah. Okay, so now let me ask you this. All right, and that's fantastic and congratulations on all of that. Okay, so let's fast forward. Let's go 6 months, 7 months, 8 months into the future. all of a sudden, vaccine, great, fabulous, we are back in business. Do you think you're going to be able to take the lessons that you've learned and how you've changed when it's no longer virtual school, when all of a sudden the hustle and bustle and everything comes back? What do you think you will do at that time?
I think I will move forward with the same best practices for me. I mean, that there's no other option. Like, I've decided this is what works well. So I'm gonna move forward with that. Forget anything else going on in the outside world.
I love it. But that's the whole point of the show. And again, I'll remind anyone that's watching this. Every person that comes on this show is recommended by the prior week. I do not know any of the people that come on, and it's all by accident. But yet, everyone that comes on has a similar mindset. So it just goes to show you that that mindset is why you're thriving during a time when it's not everyone is in that situation. So love it. Great. Thank you, Elle. So happy for that. All right, Justin. Now, Justin, of course, we also have to know how you dealt with the fact of not being able to go to the gym, because I think that ties into mindset too, right? That's a big part of mindset. So tell us what you said yes to that since this adaptation, but I also want to know about the gym.
Sure. Yeah, and thanks also for having me on. I appreciate it. In my life, I face so much struggle and adversity and opposition. So it's almost like I'm built for moments like this in a way.
Ooh.
So when moments like this come into play, I look at myself, and quitting's not an option, and feeling sorry for myself just can't happen, right? So what I have to do is adapt. I have to pivot and then say, okay, but where do I go from here? So a few things I did is, one, I was not traveling for work, so I was home more. So I learned digital marketing. I know nothing about digital marketing. So I took up a 2-month course, learned enough, and then I hired it out to somebody else, but I still at least kind of know some of it.
There's nothing wrong with that, Justin. It's okay to leave it to the experts.
Yeah. I did that. And then also just figuring out where the business was going other places, looking inward. But in that same time frame, my company, we have about 65 employees. So for me to look at my sales team, I cover North and South America. And I have, the way I look at it is, I have 65 families that they depend on a paycheck. And if my team, we aren't selling equipment, then we don't have anything in the shop for these people to work on. So they don't have a job.
Wow.
And so that's for me, when I'm looking in, it's so much of just other people. It was just making sure they have a life. I mean, as long as I'm doing my job, I'll be fine. But if I'm not doing my job, it just doesn't affect me. It affects 65 other people and their families.
And that's servant leadership. That's having servant leadership. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I guess I've always been that way in a way. Naturally, when I was younger, I didn't know it. But yeah, it's something about helping others and serving others. I think that's huge for us. And as we grow into adults, just serving other people, what that will do. Just even in sad moments or bad moments, I've picked up a habit to where if I'm having a bad day, I'll go out of my way to help someone. I automatically feel better.
100%. I'm actually so glad you mentioned that, because I know during my roughest time of whatever's going on in my life, I always went to, let me go volunteer. Because the minute you go and you volunteer in whatever organization that's near and dear to you, instantly, all of a sudden you get snapped back to, no matter what is going on in your life, there's someone worse. There's someone going through something else. So you're right. The minute you go and you help someone else, all of a sudden it takes that focus away because you help that person. So I love that advice. That is excellent.
Yeah, thanks. So, and then the gym. So it's just another way of finding a solution, right? So if I have a problem, I always find a solution. I don't know how not to. So like either it's not a problem or you find a solution. That's really it, right? And so I had a friend and we set up a gym in a garage. Plenty enough. We had to go at nighttime, train together, clean the machines. It was just him and I. And then staying on diet. At first, when everything happened, the grocery stores, protein, things started to go away. So I was having to like go to different locations for grocery stores to get all the right food that I have to eat, which naturally at that time I was actually starting a prep because I was doing a bodybuilding show in July, which ended up moving to October, which was a blessing. However, I started the prep in this process. So I had to eat very strict, you know, and find that moment. But also where I wasn't traveling, I was able to pay so much more attention to the details of my training.
Right.
So there's always a silver lining if you look for it.
Absolutely. So how did you help your team be able to, I would have to imagine that it was difficult to get sales during all of this, right? So how did you pull them through? And I'm sure it wasn't easy.
Yeah, so one thing that I've always focused on in sales and in business in general is I believe relationships are the most important thing in any business.
Yep.
Once you establish relationships with people, I haven't sold something to someone in probably 7 years, to be honest with you.
And no one ever wants to be sold.
No, and nobody wants to feel that, right? It feels wrong. And so what we do is we work on establishing good relationships and maintaining those. So it's finding our top customers, knowing they're in need, calling them, sending them gifts, or asking about their families or their wives, or just being personal instead of just being business. Let's just be personal for a little while. Let's talk to people and their families and really care about them. And so, yeah, that really worked well for us. I had one, but my top salesperson, he took it really hard and went through a really hard amount of depression. And so the moment I could actually fly out and meet with him, I flew out and spent 3 days with him, talked through some stuff, got his mind realigned, and he took it hard because he was stuck in his house and he couldn't travel or go anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a very good point, and I think we all agree with that, right? Number one, you're right. Well, no one ever wants to feel sold, and it's always about relationships. And the minute COVID hit, it had to become caring about your clients and caring about those relationships, because that's that bond, right? So that's great. And then you mentioned the teams. I think we all agree. I mean, Angel was just telling us a lovely story about planning a 2020 special holiday party with her colleagues. And that's so valuable right now. That time together in whatever fashion, and we have to change the way we're doing this. But those relationships are so strong, and sometimes you don't realize how hard someone has taken this. It's different. And people don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So we certainly understand, and thank you for that advice. That is wonderful. All right, Miss Angel, you've got a lot happening over there. Let's hear what's happening in your world. What I know one thing you said yes to, which you're going to share with everyone. So please tell us what you said yes to, how you've adapted, and how you're now thriving in 2020.
Sure. And again, I echo everyone else here and saying thank you, Laura, for this platform and for opening yourself up and to saying yes to us and saying yes to the purpose that is to empower others and to give us the opportunity to share and to really tap in to our thrive, because I hadn't even thought about it before this opportunity. So I thank you. And a thank you to my sister and my friend, Amber, who sent me your way. Like Elle, I am a very spiritual person. I am a God, I'm a Jesus girl. And my life has been extremely impacted by that relationship. And it is the source of my everything. And so indeed, I would not have been able to thrive and to even take any steps without my faith and being so rooted and grounded in that. I'm a teacher. That's my heart.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Yeah, that's my heart's passion. It's my life's work. I always say teaching is hard work.
Oh, yeah.
It's either in your heart, and you have to use your entire heart to do this work. So it's either in your heart or it's not. And if it's not, children will see it and they will feel it. And it is extremely important to be completely dedicated in this profession. And so in year 6, I have definitely, I said, whoo, I've hit a stride. And then the world said, no, everybody teacher again.
Let's change it up a bit. Just when you thought you had it down.
Just when I thought I had it, right? And so it's changed everything that I know about this career and about this profession that I love so much, and even everything that I know about children, because children in school are totally different from children at home. And so we have to have a happy marriage of the two, of at home, but you're still in my classroom. And so that has been an experience in itself, but I'm extremely grateful. And then out of this time, even within the last few months, I promise you that I've gone from interest to idea to vision to running it fully through, is my charcuterie board business, going overboard, where I'm able to share my heart and my gifting. I guess we'll get into this a little bit later.
Don't go to superpower yet. Don't jump ahead.
But a component of my superpower is entertaining people, right? And I always want to find fun and unique ways to do that, and a way to bring people together. And so one of the ways that I do that is through food. I cook and I create things and I put things together. And so I got interested in charcuterie.
Which just so everyone knows, I will admit I had no idea even what it was before we went live. So please, just for those people out there just like me, what is it?
And so anytime you go to a fancy event or even over a friend's house and they have their nice meat and cheese board with a little fruit here and a little garnish there, that's the charcuterie board. But for me, my girlfriend Jackie always says, you just always have to do the most. And so it has to be a little bit extra. And so I said, well, maybe I can do charcuterie the normal way, but then maybe I can make a hot chocolate board. Or maybe I can take a meal that I've prepared and arrange it on a board in a way that just adds a little extra. See, that's what it's all about. And I think that that's really what a lot of people need right now. It's just someone who's going to do just a little bit extra. And I just enjoy being able to give that to people. I enjoy being able to create experiences for people, even if it means taking a piece of salmon off of the stove and putting it on a board with some dill sprigs across it, and then putting rice in a bowl and arranging it in a way that just looks pretty.
Hey, Justin needs to gain 25 pounds. Right. So Angel, you might want to hook him up there.
So it's just a way of creating a space and an opportunity for people and just giving people a different kind of experience in a way that's true to me and what I love to do.
That is awesome. I mean, Angel, obviously we can feel your passion. We can tell, your excitement over this. And this is new. I mean, listen, Elle started with saying, we use the word chaos, right? So we know out of chaos comes opportunity. We know that, right? We've seen it time in our lifetimes. We see that in the craziest, most dramatic ways, as humans, we figure out how to adapt. We look at what happens at that moment in time. And then some of us actually adjust and thrive and make revisions to that. And I only encourage everyone, every week we hear these stories. Again, none of this is planned. I literally have no idea what anyone is going to say until this moment. But yet I sit here and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, how do we every week find people that are doing these amazing things during a global pandemic? So it's absolutely incredible. So Angel, how's it been with teaching virtually? I honestly am curious, like, how has it been for you guys as teachers?
My educational inspiration, who is my late aunt, who we just lost a few months ago. Brandao Pittman Page, one of the greatest educators to ever step into a classroom, would always say, well, now teaching has just never been easy. And I think that she is 100% right. And I would always say, well, Auntie, it's different now. I think now I see what she was saying. It's never been easy, but this is something else. This is a totally different experience to manage technology issues and sending students to the school, because I have to send requests for parents to go to the school and get a new computer because someone spilled milk on it. And then there's a lag in children being able to speak. And so now it's hard for me to teach a guided reading group. And then here's the other piece. I'm a human being myself. And so teachers are oftentimes put on this cape, right? And we stand on this pedestal, and it said, do it because this is your job and these children need you and they rely on you and this is your purpose, and all of those things are true, right? But then eventually the cape has to come off because I'm still a daughter. Yeah. And I'm still a sister and a friend, and for some people, a mom and a wife and a brother and a husband and a father and so many other things, right? And then I have my own life's concerns. And so while I'm sitting in front of a group of 25 to 30 children on a screen at a time and trying to pour out the best of myself because they deserve that, I also have to recognize that there are needs that I have. And in order to be my absolute best for these children who need the absolute best of me, I also have to give myself the best of me as well. And that has taken me a lot of time to learn because I just do not, and I did not know how to do that. I did not know how to prioritize myself over my job. And I've learned that.
I'm very happy that you've learned that. Going back to where Elle started, it's a very difficult road to get to that point. Most people, Angel, you're younger than I am. You usually don't get there until later, okay? When all of a sudden you realize this. I hope that you realize the same question I said to Elle of, don't lose that. It's so important because I'll go back to the expression of, when you're on the airplane and they say, put your own oxygen mask on first, you're only as good to others when you take care of yourself first. It's not selfish. It is not selfish to take care of yourself first because it makes you stronger and in the right mindset to help others. So please stay on that path. It's very important.
Because I lived my life that way for a long time. I felt selfish for taking the day off.
That's right.
Selfish for needing a break.
In there. Totally understand.
I'm grateful for reaching this place at this age so that I won't feel the burnout that I was feeling before. So, yeah.
That is right. Awesome. All right. Now we get to hear about my favorite part about my superpowers. All right. This is always every week. I have everyone in this uncomfortable feeling of there's that, even the selfish thing. Even worse, try asking people to brag on themselves, to actually admit to the world that they have a unique and superpower. Yeah, that's uncomfortable also. But I'm trying to encourage people that we all have it. We all have special gifts that we share with others. So we want to, be proud, loud and proud of that so that we can continue to share it. So Elle, tell me, what is your superpower? At least one of them.
Absolutely. So I asked both my mother and my daughter, give me your insight. What is my superpower? And I agree with them 100%. So my superpower is actually the ability to help others determine what their superpower is. Like, what is their expertise and how can we take that and turn it into a business model? And it's interesting because my background is in nursing. So I've always been this person who loves to help others, right? But in business, it's translated to that same thing, like Justin mentioned in regards to relationships. I think building relationships has helped me tremendously. And in combination with that aspect of caring, really learning about someone and understanding what are you really good at? And what does the market need where you can go in to fill that gap and solve that problem? So yeah, that's really my superpower. Just being able to have a conversation with someone and really determine okay, this is what you need to be doing. So
all right. So two questions. Number one, that is awesome because sometimes people need someone else to show them that they're special in a unique talent or a unique business or a plan, sometimes they need that confidence to be scooted along to take that next step. Like Angel, I'm sure Angel had somebody that said, you need to start this other business because you love entertaining and making people feel good, whatever. So Elle, you're providing that to them to give them the confidence and to move on to the next level. So when you said you agree, was that what came to mind when you thought of it yourself?
When I agree with, explain a little bit.
When you said your mom and your daughter said this is your superpower, was that what you thought it was before they said it?
Yeah, absolutely it was. Like that's what I feel like, honestly, Laura, like it's like my life purpose. I feel like I'm living at my purpose to really help others really uncover their own destiny and purpose. I feel like so many times like we work day by day, not realizing that we are the resource to everyone around us, right? And at the end of the day, there's other people and organizations who can tap into our own zones of genius. Just like Angel mentioned, like this is her passion. And it's like, someone will pay you for that. And, it's just really supporting people along that journey. Like you're already the expert, go sell it and go be a servant leader and serve others in that capacity. So I absolutely agree with them. I'm like, yeah.
Yes. Number one, that is so valuable, so important, and such a gift to the world, because having someone scoot you along on your path because a lot of times people say, well, I know what I'm passionate about, but I don't know how to turn it into something that monetizes. I don't know how to turn that into a business or what to do with it. So you being able to guide them in that direction to where every day they jump out of bed and are ready to go do what they love, that's so valuable. So thank you for that, Elle. That is wonderful. All right, Justin, let's hear.
Let me unmute. Yeah, so I had to think. I was funny because I was talking about this maybe about a month ago in a way, and my wife actually had told me, she's like, she says, like, you are very calm through everything, bad things, good things. You're always your thermostat's just always here. So I think for me, it's just that ability to find true peace. And so it's like whatever is happening, and I talked about adversity a little bit earlier, but so I have a saying I go by, and it's life happens for us, not to us. And so I've always, whatever's happened in my life, if it's bad, I accept it. I'm like, okay, this is what's supposed to happen to me, right? For me. And so I accept it. I go through it. Okay, how do I get through the process? We come out the other side. What did I learn from that process? And so in a lot of instances when she's either like, whoa, I'm stressed out, high anxiety, or other people at work, I'm just like, well, okay, let's talk about it. And we go through some questions and we see where everything's at. Okay, here's the solution. Do you agree? Okay, let's go down this path, and then we'll have a solution, get out of this, and we move on. And so it's, we're all, whether we believe it or not, we're going into a storm, or we're in a storm, or we came out of a storm. That's life, right?
It's just which season you're in, right?
Absolutely. So I think my ability just always to understand that and always just be like, okay, this is what life's throwing at me right now, and let's get through it. So.
Wow. Well, number one, that is extremely profound, right? So just looking at life in that way, and it seems so simple, right? Sounds simple. It's not. That's for sure. And the other thing is that you, no pun intended, but you're like the Rock, like meaning like you're kind of like, okay, if he's calm and everything's okay, then we're good, then I'm ready to go. So honestly, I think that is so powerful, because I think we all maybe refer to it like an anchor. I think we all look for that anchor. The thing that is like, okay, no matter how rough the sea gets, no matter how much of the storm, I at least know there's an anchor there that will be okay. And that is, especially in 2020, we've seen so many different things coming at everyone. To be able to be that sense of peace for not only yourself, of course, but for others. You're managing a team. Obviously, I don't know if you have kids, but I know you have a wife. So, your family, your friends, you're being that anchor and that rock for them to give them that peace. And that is quite a superpower. That's for sure. Awesome. All right, Justin. All right, Angel.
Yeah.
You're about to leak what the superpower was with the teaching. So go ahead.
If you'd asked me a while ago, I would say my superpower is teaching. But I think it all ties in together. Everything just comes together. And I can appreciate that about how God works things together in my life. I'm a gatherer. That's my superpower. I'm a gatherer. I bring people together. And it is not only a superpower, but it is a blessing to me because I'm so introverted in nature.
We can tell, Angel.
Nobody believes me, but I'm such an introvert. But I just love to bring people together. I love to create experiences for people, my family, my girlfriends, my staff at school, my colleagues, my church family. I just love to have the opportunity to bring people together. And in that gathering, I believe in community is where people thrive and where people grow. Introvert, extrovert. I like being by myself. I like being left alone. I like being in large groups of people. It doesn't matter. Everyone needs community. We all need a community. And I think being able to bring people together is not only a gifting to me, but it is a blessing to other people because they get to meet people that they wouldn't otherwise meet. Just like Laura here.
I will tell you, Angel, I think we all learned in 2020, listen, we love technology. It's great that we can be all over the country with Zoom and all that stuff. But yes. I think we all have realized we're social animals. We're social animals, right? Yeah. We need other people. We need to feel that connection. And great, it's fabulous that we can do this through technology, and thank goodness for it. But there is nothing like bringing people together. And I think it's one of the lessons we all had to learn. We weren't appreciating it enough. And so we're now learning this lesson, right? All of us.
Definitely learning this lesson. The benefit and being able in that one-to-one social experience, right? And being able to be in person with each other. I think though that this experience has really refined for me and confirmed in me what I did know as far as myself being a gatherer, and that I had to find unique ways to gather people, And just like you, I got tired of meeting on Zoom.
So go ahead, tell us, what did you do?
And while this is great, it's great to be able to meet on Zoom. I have a Zoom meeting once a month with my line sisters and my sorority, and it is a blessing to be able to do. But I always come up with unique ways that we can all get together and experience each other. So y'all meet me in the parking lot at this mall, and we just gonna sit in our cars and talk. We're going to pull up outside of someone's house, and we're just all going to sit in our respective trunks, have our snacks, and we're going to sit and be in a space together, a drive-in movie, which I won't talk too much about. Some people who may be watching who that may benefit from. But there are ways to gather people together and allow people to socialize in the same space without
in a safe manner.
And while being safe, because I'm the daughter of two older parents. My father, who is a lung cancer warrior. And so I have been extremely, my battle with germs and staying away from things and keeping safe started around this time last year when he was diagnosed. And so wearing a mask and spraying things and keeping things clean and watching people coming into your home was nothing new to us when COVID started, right? My friends would say I'm a germaphobe, and I would tell them, fine.
I've been called worse.
Right. But there are ways to stay safe, to stay so safe, but also not neglect that human interaction that we so desperately need.
Yes. Well, thank you for being a gatherer. It's interesting. I will refer to my my favorite video that I've actually referenced before just by accident, but it ties to this again. There is a famous video on YouTube about the first follower. And going back to that, it starts with the leader, but it's the first person that gathers, that comes together, that creates a movement of people coming together in that gathering. So you're providing that. You're being that first person, and then that second person joins you, and it becomes a movement of social connection. So do you see the power of what you guys, the difference you make in the world? And all I encourage you to do is to keep sharing these superpowers with the world, because you're making it a better place and you're making a difference. And now I get to hear who's joining me next week. All right, Elle, who will I have to meet next week? Oh, mute. Go ahead.
Yes, I actually would love for you to meet one of my healthcare consulting mentees who is amazing. Her name is Anaya. I would love for her to be featured on your show.
Awesome. Okay, well, we look forward to hearing all about Anaya. Beautiful name. All right, Justin.
So my bodybuilding coach, he owns his own business, and also him and I and another gentleman, we started a business 2 weeks ago, and his name is Gary Cooper. Yeah,
Wow.
he is from New York.
Wow. So wait, you didn't even mention you started a business 2 weeks ago. How did you skip that part? Wait a minute. What kind of business did you start 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, so it's going to be fitness and nutrition. We're going to sell courses that people can buy subscriptions to. So at home, all the way to professional level courses, videos, training videos, walking them through techniques. And for whatever level that person's going to be, we're going to be there. And then the back end side of it is not just fitness and nutrition, but we're going to add in some life development things, podcast, music, anything motivational, affirmations, things that can just help people a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's mind, body, and soul, right? It's the whole, all three components. That's awesome. Congratulations. We wish you the best with that. All right, Angel, who do I have the pleasure?
I'm so excited for you to meet one of my good friends and my sister who is just taking the internet and the podcast and blogging world by storm. Her name is Brooke Hardy, Brooke Christian, and she is a lifestyle blogger. You can catch her, and she is the lady for all things faith, fashion, fun, food, and everything else. She is hilarious. I can't begin to tell you, you're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh. But she also has a strong standing and a firm understanding of life and just how to navigate and what it's like to be a young adult in 2020 and with so many things that are happening around us. She's amazing, and I just can't wait for everyone to be introduced to her. She's also an amazing photographer. Don't let her not talk about that, because she'll try to not tell you that she's a photographer. She'll try to not tell you that she's a photographer.
All right, I'm making a note to ask about the photographer.
And she does so much consulting on so many. She's my go-to person for all of the things, is what I always say.
Awesome.
So I'm so excited.
Awesome. Wow, it sounds like I'm going to have a lot of fun next week also. Well, you guys are amazing. Obviously, I'm so thankful for all of you to share your stories, your insights, your thriving, your superpowers, and we just wish you all the best to you, your families. Happy holidays to all, and be well.